better than your clap for 2 episodes, for sure. I mean, better than that clap, arguably.
Whoa. Oh my gosh.
Hey, you know what I thought about this morning?
What's that?
This is the last episode. I even sent you an invite that was called the last episode days ago, and I didn't think
Didn't register.
about how this is. Whose idea was this to end?
You. Yeah.
Whose idea was it to move?
That was definitely me.
Yeah,
I'll take full credit for that one. Yeah, this is the throes of it, man. This last week and a half or two has been crazy. We got our pods delivered on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, the day before.
Off camera, you've been saying the word pod, and I've been saying the word pod a lot.
Yeah.
And occasionally you're referring to these big things you're moving stuff in.
Yes.
And occasionally we're referring to this podcast.
And then the last time we talked on the phone yesterday, you referred to my actual pods, and I referred to
confusing.
podcast. Yeah.
It's been really confusing.
But we got those in and then put all our stuff together. Shout out my buddies Jordan and Isaac for coming over to help. And they took them away. It was kind of crazy because you don't need to be there when they take them away at all.
Yeah.
And so just woke up, checked on them in the morning. I was like, oh, they're still here. I thought they'd be here already. And then 3 hours later, I walk out with my daughter and my driveway's empty. And I was like, I guess hopefully they got our stuff. And we should have it in our new place, which I've redacted from our previous episodes because of the series that I finalized.
Yeah.
In 12 days from today, I'll be there in the new lease.
Dang.
A week from today, right now I'll be on the road to Kansas.
You'll be signing the new lease?
We've already signed it.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. I'll just have to pick up the keys. Yeah.
That was what I wanted to hear. I got really stressed for a moment.
Yeah.
With you saying
gotta
we're
find a
moving.
place.
We were signing the lease. I was like, whoa.
The pods are just going to be chilling in a U-Haul somewhere.
Yeah. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
You suggested something that I thought was a really good idea.
Do you still think it's a good idea?
That we listen to all 5 episodes before this episode. And I did.
Yeah.
Have you finished all 5?
I did.
Did you?
I did. I'm serious. Don't question me.
When?
I won't lie to you.
When?
Why would you ask that?
Today?
I listened to an hour of one today. I got the rest of them done yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When were you done? Was it
well before that?
Yeah.
I've listened to like a couple of them multiple times because I've been like trying to figure out. We're building this thing in the air, so I'm doing thumbnails. You're doing like a bit of the final edit, and so I've been listening to them again, just like the first 10 to 20 minutes to try to figure out like thumbnail concepts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I listened to them. Yeah. There you go. I'll just screenshot that.
You do one real faster.
No. I listened to them a while back, and it was interesting listening back. What was your takeaway? Any?
I think it's hard to like pinpoint it like what's the one big thing. Honestly, we were talking about this before the podcast, but like I haven't been in like the headspace to like be super introspective about it. Yeah. It's been such like if you've ever gone through big transitions, like we moved a lot, but this is hopefully the last big move that we'll make. We're really hoping that we're moving to like my kids graduate high school from there. I have long career there. Like we want that to be home. That's
Did you
the
say
goal.
kids?
Kids, yeah. What?
Like future plans, kids.
Yeah, I have one kid now.
I didn't know that was like an announcement of sorts.
Oh, no. Well, we want to have more kids, and we'd like for...
Understood.
Yeah.
I just was...
Dude, you
threw me left and right with surprises.
I would
tonight.
freak if we had another kid right now.
Yeah.
I would not be able to handle it at this moment. But
to be fair to your mental state listening to the episodes, you said 1 and 2 you were in a good headspace.
Yeah, I was in a better headspace for episodes 1 and 2. 3, 4, and 5 has just been like... It's been as the moving has been happening, and at this point, it's like, okay, I have a week from today to finalize a big project that I've been working on, the Acing Everything at Johnny's Challenge.
Still working on it. We talked about it in the last episode.
Still working on it. I only got out 2 times since then, and then we got a ton of snow today, so like that exacerbates things. I have a couple of videos that I need to finish filming, and then I have like this road trip series.
Yeah.
Similar to what we talked about probably in episode 3, but luckily I was really worried that you said the name of what I'm going to be calling it, Road Trip Invitational, and luckily you said like Cross Country Open or something like that. I was like,
funny.
thank goodness. I was like, I thought I just like ripped your name.
Yeah. Dang.
But
I mean, we'll pretend you ripped my name and
Yeah.
I'll take 10% or something.
5.
Deal. Deal. Yes. Shoot.
But yeah, I think my takeaway, it's hard. So all that to say, I don't feel like I was in a headspace to be charitable to myself. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
was the biggest thing is I was more annoyed at myself these last couple episodes, but I also, in order to get through them in the time that I allotted myself to, I listened to them on like double speed, which I already talk at 1.75 at least, depending on the listener. So it's just tricky for me to go from like you, who I'm like, oh, this is normal at double speed, like because if I've listened to double speed before, and then I'm like, dude, stop plugging my ears with this. And I get that that's what people's reactions to me are, and that was my reaction to me, unfortunately. But my biggest takeaways is I do think that there has been some pretty substantial growth
For sure.
in the 6 months, and it's cool that there are things that we talked about in these first episodes that I forgot and like were helpful. It's like, oh, these are good things to like go back and revisit for myself. And then just it helped because I didn't want, especially number 2. Like I was most dreading listening to number 2 because me and you's how we talk about episode 2 is Bedanza goes to therapy. That's like
it felt heavy having that conversation.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, it was like, oh, that wasn't heavy. That was like a very normal human going through stuff. Like we both thought it was going to be, I don't know what, worse, harder, whatever, deeper, like, or not deeper, darker than it was. And it was like super chill.
Yeah, I was not looking forward to listening back to it. Yeah. And I listened through it and I was like, Chris, like, I want you, like, I'm really glad that we have this recorded because it's like very like raw and real. And it also really helped me to realize how much more negative my internal monologue is to myself than like if I'm listening to that months removed as third party as you can get with yourself, essentially.
Sure.
In a podcast is edited down or like whatever. And I was like, wow, like this is like good. Like there's stuff that I took away from that for myself now that like I said then just like in the throes of like being depressed and like feeling pretty shitty. And it's just like, wow, like it's colored these last couple episode listens that I've had where I felt more negatively about myself in those than I did in episode 2 to be like, that's just me right now being negative towards it because I'm in a weird headspace right now. Not that those episodes are worse, unless you disagree because you listened to all of them too. But that's kind of it was helpful for me to have done this to realize like all the negativity that I feel that other people put on me is more likely than not stuff that I put on myself.
Yeah, interesting. It's cool because we've blended our styles to bring this to life. So it was just very different, like choosing titles we've talked about, choosing thumbnails, like it's just different styles and like kind of going back and forth with stuff. Like we've never, the nice thing is we don't hold this, the weight of this is the conversation you and I have and that's it. It ends there. That's the weight.
Yeah.
So then putting out to the world, we're like, oh yeah, that description works, that title works, that this, whatever. And that's been really nice. What I was worried about in having this conversation, because technically we started in June, right? So it would have been
June 14th.
Every month to November, and we wouldn't have done December. And we would have posted the final episode before the first episode aired.
Yeah, that was initially what we talked about.
I was excited about that because I didn't want public release to affect this.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is, based on how it was just like, I'd like to think, like I do have relatively thick skin, but at the end of the day, some YouTube comments just get you, you know? Yeah. And some things just go. And like this one is great because like there was a comment on the first episode that was like, the world doesn't need more podcasts. And it was like, great, bye. This isn't for you. This is for you and me. Yeah. That's it. Cool. Yeah. And so I'm really happy that I don't feel coming into this that it had any effect on this conversation. And it was just fun to listen back to them. And it reminded me of, I have the most niche answer to what superpower could you have if you could have one superpower. This is the most ridiculous thing ever. I've been thinking about this all year long. If I could have one superpower, it's almost like I need to say it and then explain what's going on. I would want to be able to like flip a switch and turn on a previous version of myself and then turn it off. Case in point, we just posted a warehouse tour. And in that video, I said, my 2020 self would have freaked out seeing this. I can't feel that. I cannot feel that. You know, I'm a big runner.
Mm-hmm.
There's sometimes I want to run. I'm like, this is a hard run. And I'm running 10 miles. And it's like, go back to the time where you could only run 3 miles. And like if I could flip that switch and appreciate, I think it would make me appreciate what I have now.
Huh.
And it almost felt that way watching, where I was like, I wish I could just flip the switch and be in that moment that we were in June, because I see it, but I'm looking at it on a table. I'm not feeling it the way I was feeling like in June, in July, etc. And so it felt hard to relate to those people, which is crazy because it was only 6 months ago.
Yeah.
But it felt hard to be like I remember that, because now it's like hindsight. And even I talked in whatever episode 5, I think, about October and how crazy October was.
Mm-hmm.
Even that, I'm like, I feel so distanced from that now. And I'm just like, how can I not do that again? But watching it, it was like, I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, I just wish I could like turn on and turn off. So, and I don't know if that like communicates to you, but like, or not communicates, but like resonates with you, where it's like, you are, I will say this from my side looking at you, you are a different person today than you were in June when we started this. And episode 2, like we talked about. And like, that's really interesting to watch from my side. And I'm watching that all.
Yeah.
Whereas I can't necessarily see that for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with that, but what superpower would you want to have if you could have a superpower? Dude, actually, deep down, do you know what superpower both of us would want? Say it on the count of 3. Ready?
I'm not going to get it. I don't have anything in my head right now.
No. This is like core to our humanity. 1, 2, 3, super speed.
Oh,
don't you like relate with that on a like somewhat intrinsic level?
Yes. Yeah.
Think about the levels of efficiency, right? How much you could get done today. How much you could get done while we're recording this podcast. You could just run off and get some stuff done and come back.
Oh my gosh.
Or like Denver traffic, gone.
Yeah.
You might have slipped on the way down because it's snowing right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That's all, to be honest with you, which we're getting so down a tangent right now, but I've never really resonated with like, what superpower would you want? And I don't know if it's a lack of imagination or what it is. I don't have an answer.
Yeah.
Like to anything. And I don't think that's like I have a decent contentedness with life, which is cool, but like I don't think it's because of that. I don't really know why, but I never resonated with that question.
Yeah. I mean, my answers are twofold. One is like a classic superpower, and one is a crazy statement that is not an actual superpower. But it's like, I
think that would be really cool what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is the type of thing that
as a disc golfer, think about when you're out there throwing and you throw 400 feet and you're like, oh, why wasn't that farther? Go back to POV Disc Golf Bodanza, who can throw 300 feet or 250 feet. Like, there's certain things there where I wish I could feel that with putting, where I'm like, I'm not on right now. It's like, dude, what it used to be, like, turn that on real quick, then turn it off. I just feel like it would be a deep appreciation for where things are at, where I have a constant desire for where things could go, as opposed to where they're at right now, being appreciative of that. Sorry, I interrupted you, but I think it relates to disc golf, which means it relates to all of us who are having this conversation.
I don't think you should apologize for interrupting me. The balance is not close.
Forgive me.
Yeah, I'm thinking back through these first 5 podcast episodes that we did. I definitely agree. I've like read all the comments. Super appreciate like the support. It's cool to see. It's also nice that we're releasing them pretty far from when we're filming them. Like this one's going to be released 26 days from now, the 28th.
Yeah.
And like
it's getting shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
That time.
Yeah. And so that's pretty cool to see because like in that second one, my tendency has been historically just to like be more defensive in general of like myself, and like a lot of that comes from like an insecurity and like from a fixed mindset, which I've talked about probably at length too much. But
shout out to the book Mindset by Carol Dweck.
Heck yeah.
Which I feel like we said in every episode, oh yeah, we talked about that last episode.
Yeah. And I feel like having these comments be there and seeing them from a perspective of a person who's not just made something and put it out is super fun, because I can agree with the comments that are like more negative towards me, where it's like
Oh,
not necessarily more
interesting.
negative, but like comments are like, Jesse,
Yeah.
like, thanks for like challenging his thinking on that. And it's just like,
You're not as attached to it because you're
Yeah.
detached.
Yeah.
As opposed to when we create, we usually post it, you know, a day or 5 months later.
Yeah.
And we're still connected to it.
Yeah.
That's a callback joke. But we're usually connected to it. Whereas this feels so disconnected.
At least more so. And I think that disconnection, I think a lot of these things are helpful, because it's like, it's cool in one sense that that's the case. It's like, oh, sweet, this is different than how I normally interact with people who are interacting with things that I create. But in a second sense, that time is not a necessity of my reaction. Or it doesn't have to be a necessary ingredient to my reaction to those comments. Like, that can be something that, and I think I've gotten better at it just in general. Like, something so silly, but like, if I see a comment that like, I don't like, it maybe hits an insecurity or something sometimes, like, I don't delete it unless it's like overly like some comments are, some people post are like aggressive or just like derogatory in a way that's like, I just don't want this on YouTube in general. But for the most part, like, I'll never like, I don't delete a comment, but like, I'll hit the down like button to like download it. Be like, I hope no one sees this.
Yeah.
But like, I've had a couple comments recently where I'm like, oh, this is so dumb. But like, I found myself not doing that, because I'm like, oh, this is silly. But like, I am able to put myself into their perspective a little bit. Like, and so that's been helpful. And I think a part of that is similar to almost a little bit of a detachedness from the things that I create being me versus being something that I do. And it's very easy as a creator, and it's very easy. It's very easy to just like see the things that I do as an extension of myself. Like, if someone is criticizing this thing that I made or saying that this can get better in some way, they're talking about me, but they're not. They're talking about a piece of work, which is a very small section of something that I've created and put out there. It's almost like I've spun it off from myself. Like, I've taken it out of me and put it out there, and it's no longer, and it doesn't have to be a part of me, but I can leave myself attached to it if I want to. But I feel like this being 4 months removed, reading those comments, I'm like, yeah, that's funny. You guys are right. Like, I agree with you. Like, yeah, like, you should have challenged that. Like, that's silly. And yeah, I was thinking wrong in like those ways. And I think that there's a sense that where I can have, what it comes down to me is, I think, like, more empathy in the sense of like being able to put myself in someone else's shoes, not seeing it because they're not in my head and I'm not in their head. But how can I we said this in episode 5, like the most charitable interpretation of like how they're putting this, where it's like, sometimes I'll show my wife something I'll be like incensed about, and she'll be like, oh, what are you talking about? Or like, this is like not that big of a deal, but because I'm seeing it as a reflection on me, it's bigger. And so seeing those comments, bringing it full circle, we might have a couple more rabbit holes, just knowing me. I'm going to try to.
That's the design of the podcast. Also, you should get your foot off of the table, because I think it's making problems with the.
Oh, dang it!
So comfortable. It might not be, but yeah, get comfortable.
No, it's okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hopefully, other people appreciate it, because it might have been bad, but it might be fun.
Oops. All this to say that seeing those comments detached from something that I recently did, like, I see it as an essence of like a past self, because it's not present anymore. But sometimes like a past me or something that I do takes a while to come to fruition. Whereas like, how do I take this thing that I now see as like, oh, this is a cool novel experience that I'm having with these comments, 100%. And make it so that if someone puts that on a video that I made yesterday, I can have that same reaction where I'm understanding their perspective and like thinking about it in a different way than just like, okay, why are they saying that? It's probably not just because they're an asshole. Like, that's most people, that's not the case.
Could be, but
most, like, and I think interpreting it as them not being that, being charitable towards it, even if they are, it's the whole idea of like, to me, like, a coach is only as good as the athlete, or like, if I'm getting coached by someone, if the coach can be a really bad coach, but I can still learn a lot from them if I put in the work, and like, if I'm doing everything that I can to interpret their stuff in a good way and work really hard at it. Similar to like, they might be being an asshole about it, but I don't have to take it that way, because I can give it a charitable interpretation and then learn what I learned from that. which might not be what they want me to learn, but I think you can still grow from it.
Still learned.
Yeah.
I feel like it relates perfectly here. There's one of my favorite stand-ups of all time is Mike Birbiglia, and he has a stand-up called My Girlfriend's Boyfriend. I'm pretty sure it's in that one where he's telling a story about something that happened to him.
Yeah.
And he's saying something and the audience like has a reaction, like a gasp. And he pauses and he's like, I'm in the future too. Like I see that as crazy now as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're having that reaction with the comments
Yep.
where you're like, no, I'm here too. And I see that. I'm now detached as well.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting like takeaway from those first couple episodes being that it was like that. I mean, it was definitely more for you like that than it was for me, because I think I'm just a little more private with like things I'm going through at the end of the day. Like I'm a few more walls or something.
I need to be more private.
Well,
I have become, it's interesting you say that, because I have become, like, that's been a part of the transition for me since I started the podcast, is like, for me, authenticity used to be oversharing almost in a sense. Whereas now it's like, I'm going to share a part of myself and be authentic with the thing that relates to the people that I'm trying to serve with my content. Whether I'm trying to entertain them, or I'm trying to help them get better form, or whether I'm trying to show them their diss, like, they don't need all of me to do that. I don't need to like, and like, I only need to share and like what is relevant to them.
Yeah.
And being as authentic as I can be with that inherently is going to lead to like a little bit more privacy for me, and which is also so helpful for me, because it would almost be before it's like, in order to be authentic, because the way that was characterized was by being like sharing everything.
Yeah.
And like almost going the beyond necessary in that. It was like, oh, if I'm not oversharing, and not in like
I'm
major
not
way.
authentic.
Exactly. It's like I'm like, oh, I'm being fake. And it's like, no, you're not being fake. You're just like only showing it's like highlighting something. Like the light's not going to be on everything. It's going to be on this part. That doesn't mean that it's not true. It's just not complete. And you can never show a complete picture. And I think I was like killing myself trying to show a complete picture. Whereas now it's like, I'm just going to show what's necessary. And if people want more and they ask for more, I can give them more. But if it doesn't make sense for that, why share it? Like, there's no need.
Well, you actually intuitively already knew that when you publicly said your daughter's name was Baby Bogey, because you were like, you don't need to know everything.
Yeah.
Like there are some things that are private. And so you intuitively know that. It's just where that line is. Yeah. It's a little more obvious with a newborn. It's a little more obvious there. Whereas, I have felt that tension because Trash Panda as a brand is built on transparency and authenticity. Yeah. And it fundamentally stems from the fact that, like, I remember the founder of Patagonia, Yvon Chouinard, saying something along the lines of, like, I want you to be able to trust, like, when I'm in front of you, I'm not trying to sacrifice anything. And that communicates to you that when I'm not in front of you, when it's behind closed doors, you know you can still trust us. Yeah. And to me, that's something I deeply want for Trash Panda, of like, people will never know the conversations we have in that conference room right there, and how truly down to the ethics and morality of what we're doing, and like the highest level of responsibility we have. And that's not necessarily like, that's okay. I don't need people to know that, but like, I want my public actions, I want our brand to show that that's the case at the end of the day. And I don't want to publicly be like, hey, what if we bend the rules here? What if we bend the rules there? And the way I feel and have had a tension of trying to figure out is, yes, at face value, that seems, just be authentic and transparent and tell everything, because then it's all out there. Yeah. But that fundamentally just isn't, that's not a reality. That's not ever going to be like, it doesn't work.
Can I say something that I want to get your opinion on that's very related to this?
No. I haven't interrupted you this whole time. So you interrupting me is not okay. Yeah, of course.
I mean, like I said, the balance is skewed very much your direction for not interrupting.
But I'm totally joking.
I think this will, like, I just want to be a jumping off point for you to continue talking about what you're talking about. but I had it as a thought, and I want to listen better to what you're saying instead of needing to get this thought out there.
No,
But
you're good.
essentially, I've heard this said, I don't exactly remember where, but it just came back to me where it's like sometimes vulnerability can be a mask for quality in a sense, where it's like I can overshare things because I'll seem so authentic that like I can connect with you on different ways and like
Interesting.
and not have to like put out and not really focus on like what's the best thing I can make for this person. If I just overshare a little bit, it's like that's unique because I'm being so authentic and so vulnerable. And I don't think that but I think sometimes it doesn't necessarily have to be this, but sometimes it can be like if I overshare a little bit, then like people will be interested in that and they'll keep coming back
Yeah.
versus like I want to make something really good that is really entertaining and valuable to somebody. And it can like you can swing the pendulum one way or another. I'm interested to hear your perspective on that. Because it might not be right, but I was thinking about it like that.
No, for sure. I mean, we are founders. At the end of the day, my ego is at play in Trash Panda in places.
Yeah.
Before this conversation, we were talking about employees, and like I like talked about how like I'm worried about the places where my ego is at play with my employees, and I am blind.
Yeah.
Like that's a reality that I just have to sit with.
Yeah.
And then try to address. What's hard for me about the words you said was vulnerability is a mask for quality, right? Right?
That's what I said. I still don't, that's what's in my head. I think it needs to be fleshed out more,
Okay.
but I don't think it's like, I'm not holding to that too tightly.
Yeah. I mean, could be true for plenty of people.
Or maybe a better way is like vulnerability, mass, and insecurity that you can't create something that's high enough quality. That's more words and less and more.
Yeah, that's interesting.
We can move on from it. I thought of it. It's probably nothing.
What's interesting is I don't really connect the word vulnerability to Trash Panda. I don't see my approach and our approach at Trash Panda as being vulnerable.
What do you see the difference of like vulnerability, authenticity, reality kind of thing? Because I think you're right. And that's where I think that is the mask. I don't think authenticity is a mask for quality, but I think vulnerability, which is kind of where that's in more of the oversharing role, I think.
Yeah, vulnerability for some reason just carries the connotation of being like something that's hard or like negative, and like YouTube doesn't need to hear about my hard moments. And like it's not connected to like I do see fundamentally the like mission of Trash Panda as being something that's focused on positivity too. So I don't know. I'm not really connecting with that word because I do think about transparency all the time. And I think about authenticity all the time when it comes to Trash Panda. I don't really think about vulnerability because like everyone, every company, every person, its life goes through hard stuff. So like talking about the hard stuff feels like, I mean, I mentioned hard stuff, like making a disc out of 100% recycled plastic is really hard. And like we talk about those things, but I don't think about that as vulnerability.
And you don't like it's not like front and center. I think where I've gone wrong before is like I'm having hard times personally.
Yeah.
And I bring my audience into it. And it's like they are here for having fun and playing disc golf. And I think that's where it masks like because I'm having a hard time, it's harder for me to make really good quality stuff. And so instead of just not making anything or working harder at creating good quality stuff, it's almost maybe vulnerability almost acts as an excuse if you're overusing it in content. Where it's like sometimes it can be good to be like, man, this is really hard, but it's like, how do I present this in a way that still brings value to my audience? Where it's like, man, this is like this last video I just did was about like trying to get better at form in a week. And it's like, I had a really hard time with it because I got poor sleep. We were moving the whole time. I still had to watch my daughter so much. And like, so I wasn't able to get it all done or as much as I wanted. And like, I found myself instead of like harping on that, which I think I would have a couple months ago, be like, oh my God, this is so hard. And I think a lot of comments, like reading them from like when I hurt my foot before I went to USGC, and all the comments were like, dude, shut up about your foot. And I was like, guys, but my foot was hurting. And that's a reason. And it's like, no, that's like, I was using that where it's like, this is real, but it doesn't matter to them, you know?
I deeply connect with or just feel that anything hard and this is not anything, but so it's blanket statement. So like most 90% of the hard things I go through, like October was really hard in terms of stress and busyness and everything like that because of me.
Yeah.
I signed up for this.
100%.
So when I look at that hard, I'm like, I don't know if the vulnerability part is hard for me because I'm like, I signed up for this. So if someone comments like, yeah, you signed up for this, it's like, yeah, I did sign up for this.
Yeah.
And that's that. Like, I genuinely feel that way. It's not like I'm thinking about the comments in my decision to post something.
Yeah.
I'm like, I genuinely feel like, I remember I did a long run at one point, like one of the longer runs I've done. And I was like trying to challenge myself. And I remember like my knees started to like really give out and like, they were just like, we're done. And I was like, at one very brief moment, I was like, come on. Like, I wish my knees would just keep going. And then I was like, no, Jesse, this is what you showed up for. This is why you're doing this. It was for the challenge. It wasn't for the easy part. It was for the challenge. And so the vulnerability part's hard for me because I'm like, I signed up for this.
Yeah.
So anything hard, at the end of the day, I get to show up, work with great people, make disc golf discs, recycle plastic. Like I'm living a dream.
Yeah.
And so stress, yeah, we all have that.
Yeah.
So it's a weird one, but
yeah, I think exactly what you said is exactly kind of up a lot of the change I come through. I feel like I'm just like turning the better version of me is just like implementing Jesse's things into my life, which is nice. I really do come to you in a lot of ways.
that's very kind.
Yeah. But essentially, I think you're right. And I think the way that I said it was one of those things that popped in my head, and I feel like I had to get it out, and it was not good. Like, it wasn't right.
But no. It's an interesting question, though, because I never, without you saying that right now, would have thought about the word vulnerability in the context of Trash Panda. I mean, maybe. Yeah. But, like, it made me think about that. Like, I don't, yeah.
And I think, like, vulnerability to me almost has been used as a tactic more than an authenticity tool. Because you don't have to be vulnerable to be authentic, at least in the sense that we're using the connotation of vulnerable. I think there's a way that someone might have a different understanding of vulnerable. We're specifically talking about it as like sharing hard things that are like happening to you in a way. And to me, it's in a way that is to garner connection through pity almost, where it's like, that's like the goal of it. But I also think that like, one, audiences are smart. Like, my comments called bullshit on me, like not bullshit on like that my foot wasn't hurting. Some did, which is stupid because like I had strained it. But also like me talking about it on every shot, I'd be like, oh, I'm doing this because of my foot. I'm doing this because of my foot. It's like, yeah, they're super right. It's like, I need to say it. Maybe I need to say at the beginning, it's like, hey, also I have a hurt foot, and then I don't need to talk about it anymore. And like people, and like, I think a part of it is trying to always preempts the reaction that someone can have to my stuff, where they're going to react the way that they do because of their context. Like, I can't get in their head, and so I can't worry about that.
Feel that. I do feel that. I was just thinking back to another episode we filmed where I said, I actually thought it would be a great thumbnail, and then I realized it's a very weird thing to put on a thumbnail, and it was tinker in public. I was like, that doesn't work. That can't be. If we ever monetize this, it would be demonetized. So I was like, okay, obviously not that, but we were talking about how you are like iterating and in the public's eye. Yeah. And I'm not as much that way. And I was like, we're all tinkering. You're just tinkering in public. Yeah. I think that's the exact quote. And it would be a great thumbnail. I do think I do that in other ways. For example, one of the times that I thought about what people would say was when we talked about REI. And that we got into REI and they ordered 12 because 12 is nothing. That's just a nothing number. And I did think about that and how people would respond. I don't know that maybe it's just different where yours is like your life and mine is like phases of the business's life, because it's not my life. No one knows anything about me. Half the people, maybe most of the people listening to this, have no idea what my last name is. Yeah. I'm not saying that to invite them to go find it out. Like, it doesn't matter.
It's Panda.
It's at Trash Panda. Legally. It's been changed. What matters is Trash Panda. And what Trash Panda is us. And that's why it's not, it was always Jesse at Trash Panda, so it could be Kyle at Trash Panda, so it could be Kelly at Trash Panda, so it could be Tom at Trash Panda.
Yeah.
That was the design. And I do talk, I guess what I'm trying to connect here is I do talk about the life and phases and growth and like missteps and whatever of the company.
Yeah.
I don't do it about my personal life. You do it about your personal life in some ways. Obviously, like family, like certain things are private still. But like
not even yeah.
So I do think maybe I do. I'm kind of reflecting on it now. I'm like, maybe I do that. It's just in a slightly different way because it's about the company. And company feels like an entity, where Trash Panda is an entity. Your brand, your company is Bodanza Disc Golf.
And I think where that comes to play is if we think about just like a Venn diagram. Oh, this is perfect. If you think about
such a visual person,
a Procyon.
Thank God we're only posting this on YouTube.
But if you look at a Venn diagram, are these Domi? Oh my gosh, this is like the best starting Procyon yet, I felt.
Well,
but that being said, as I get very distractible,
they're not available. Bummer. All right.
Not even to me, that's brutal. But that being said, the way I think about it, the way that I'm coming to think about it, is needing like Bodanza Disc Golf, because my philosophy behind content creation has always been, or like what I've wanted to do with it is create businesses that fund the lifestyle that I want. And so I talk about this a lot with my wife, is like, for me personally, and I'm not saying this as a general belief, but for me, there's no work-life balance. I don't care about work-life balance. I care about harmony, because I love working. I want a thriving home life, fatherhood, husbandship, like business, like hobbies. I want all these things, but I don't, like, for me, it's not like, okay, I clock in and I clock out and then whatever. It's like, no, I like working all the time.
Yeah.
But a part of that is I like working all the time, and there'll be times where I don't want to work, so I just want to be able to take off a couple weeks. It's like, I think the harmony of it is like finding the ebb and flow more so than it is like a balance, like trying to weigh the balance. It's more of finding what the harmoniousness looks like throughout life in general. But a part of that is creating businesses that fund my lifestyle that are also more personal brands. Like my original YouTube channel was just my name. This YouTube channel, Bodanza Disc Golf. Like, and all these things are for me, but because I make them with my name, and I don't think this is part of the reason, it probably helps that subconsciously. Yeah. But I think to me, they almost look like this sometimes. You know what I mean?
Finally, we're getting the visual. I've been on the edge of my seat this whole time. No,
you're sat very far, actually. Yeah, I can see that. I'm looking at you in case you didn't know.
I'm very comfortable.
But essentially, I think sometimes it's here. And I think this year it's started to move a little bit further apart. So the Venn diagram keeps going. And I think in an ideal world, there's a little overlap, but like mostly apart, where like they do to me operate as separate entities. However, because a part of my brand is that it's like part of, not because of part of my brand is this, but because the audience that I like, my target audience is 25 to 45-year-olds who are family valued and like want to be outside. Like there's always going to be an aspect where I share some parts of that are relevant to what they care about. And I think what it's been is I've always shared things that I thought would either like that would like help me as a tactic. Like I'd be a little more like I said, tactical, like vulnerable about things in a way that's just like, why would someone care about this necessarily? Whereas I don't want to not share things about my family or about my wife or about my daughter. Like she's been in a couple recent videos, like in a podcast we said Sylvia, and it was so funny because I got like a DM. It's like, dude, you said Sylvia. I was like, yeah, I uploaded the podcast. I know. So,
I thought about that afterwards. And I was like,
oh really?
I was like, was that the first time?
Yeah, it was the first time.
Oh my
just in general. But like for me, it's like it's not something to like guard super close. Like we're in disc golf. Like I'm not some like A-list dude, but it's like I'm not going to go out of my way to just be like, oh, this is my daughter. And like, it's almost like using something as a tactic versus as something to serve an audience is kind of how I think about it. Cause the people, like I want to entertain and to do things that are interesting for them. And so I want to create things that are valuable. And a part of that will be interacting with my life because that's how I've set things up.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be all of it. And I think figuring out how do I picture these in my head as separate things so that I can look at something that I create in the entity as a difference for me, so that if someone comments on it, they're commenting on something that I still care a lot about, that's still valuable to me, but it's not me. I'm separate from it. And I think that is a distinction that I'm trying to pull it apart from myself so that I have them as a separate thing, just like Like if it was a different name, if it wasn't Bonanza Disc Golf, but it was Trash Panda's little brother Disc Golf, then like it could work out. Like, but like because it's my name, it's almost
Trash
harder.
Panda's shorter brother Disc Golf.
Yeah.
Moment of silence. I think
That's my thought.
it's interesting because you said harmony,
Yep,
and then balance, and I almost see those as very, 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 very similar things. And I feel like the more I live a life in this world, the more I'm like, the answer is in the middle of the pendulum. It's not way over here. It's not way over here. It's somewhere in the middle, in that
what's the
balance,
pendulum?
in that harmony. Everything in life is like, I mean, we could say this like, I work too much, so I want to do this now. And like, it's almost like the grass is always greener, where you're always like you swung too much to this side, so now you want to go to this side. And I think the answer is somewhere in that, like you said, the discs were over each other and then you pulled them apart. And I almost wonder if it is actually at the 50-50, where that like harmony or balance is. Like, I think it's, I don't know if that makes sense. And I can't speak to your...
What would you think about this? Tolerances. There's an importance of tolerances in machining.
Yes.
And I think so much of like the pendulum is going to depend on the goal. Because work for someone is going to be like, if we're talking just waking hours, some people 50-50 is the goal. Some people it's less than that. For me, it's a decent bit more than 50-50, wanting to spend my week working, because like I find a lot of value in it. It's like the goal is going to dictate a lot of that pendulum. And so a part of it is juice.
I'm going to cut you.
Yeah.
Because what you're defining is the center point as 50-50. But I think everyone has a different 0 and 100, and the answer is in that 50-50. Like, if that makes sense. So my 0, 100 in just different things is different than yours. And I think that it's just like finding that balance in my humanity, not trying to do the same exact thing you're doing. There's a really are you watching Pluribus right now? Okay. My wife says it sounds like I like am choking on something when I say the word pluribus. But there's a really interesting show going on right now that I don't want to spoil for you.
Okay.
But I will. I'm going to slightly spoil the concept.
Sure.
And if anyone skip to whatever timestamp, if whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So the concept is that there's like some kind of virus that is affecting humans, and everyone on Earth gets affected by this virus except for like 11 people. And so the main character of the show is one person who's one of 11. And the virus is creating a like human who basically the virus, it can't harm other things. Like, it can't kill a fly. So these humans are all helping each other. They're consolidating resources. They're turning out the lights in the cities to conserve energy. It's like the opposite of what you think the TV show is going to be about when a virus takes over humanity. All of a sudden, humanity's like kind of better for it. And my sister-in-law the other day asked me, what do you think the point of the show is? And I've told you basically what you get in the first 2 episodes. I don't know what the point of the show is. But I don't love the idea of robots. Like, I don't love the idea of everyone being this robot that's acting in the same way. I think we all are different humans. And like I said, I think my 0 to 100, my not 0 to 100. Don't think about it that way, because there's a smaller number and a bigger number. Think about it as my pendulum, and whatever that pendulum, whatever arena that's swinging in, I think it's a different arena than your arena.
Yeah.
And the positive is balance in there. I don't know if that makes sense, but like,
balance to me feels like a point. You know what I mean? Like, you find a point of balance.
I feel that way about harmony too.
Really?
Yeah, like harmony feels
fluid to me.
Like
that you're literally doing something that is called balancing when you did that. To me, harmony is like, if you think about it musically, it's the intertwining of multiple notes in a way that works. Like that's a harmony. And so to me, it's multiple things interacting together. And because life is like each individual part of life is constantly changing, the harmony is going to change. Whereas I feel like if you wanted to plot balance points, like we might be saying two of the same things in specific moments. To me, balance feels like a momentary thing, whereas harmony is like how to move through your life. Because if you were to plot each point of balance in your life, it'll look something that's not the same point.
Oh.
But to me, and it might just be a language thing, but harmony to me is kind of what Carissa said. Because I was like, dude, I just don't believe in work-life balance. She's like, yeah, like it's harmony. It's like, how do these things come together in different seasons of life in ways that serve the ultimate? And I think it does come down to like, what's the goal? And that's where you find harmony is in everything working together towards the goal for yourself in a business or a family or whatever else it is.
There is, not to add another word to the mix, but there is the saying, everything in moderation.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like moderation is the most boring word I can think of that also feels similar of like,
see, I don't like that though.
That's fine. You don't have to like it.
I just think the moderation idea feels to me like, I guess it's always going to be relative to perspective.
But we're back to episode 1. We're on dimmers and switches, or episode 2. Like I love that we're talking about our conversations as episode 1 and episode 2, whatever. Cause like, I never thought that would be the case. And it's fun cause I feel connected to those people as episode 1 or episode 2.
Yeah.
We talked about dimmers and switches, and I think switches is like this side, this side, this side, this side. And dimmers is that balance. And maybe you're calling it harmony, but it's that pendulum being like floating closer to the middle, if you will. Okay. I'll explain it again in a totally different way.
Let's do it.
I had a thought on the way into work today that is like your classic thought you have on the way into work. I was thinking about how mattresses are kind of like work and how you spend so much of your time sleeping and you spend so much of your time working. And I think I've taken the idea that you should enjoy your work because you're going to do so much of it in your lifetime. I think I've taken that too far.
Really?
And I've taken it to the point of like, I love to work.
Yeah.
I love this thing that I do. Trash Pan is built around two things that is everything I want to do. I want to tell stories and I want to make stuff. And if I'm making stuff that tells a story, I'm super stoked. There was a point, I don't know if we've ever talked about this, where the opportunity to sell Trash Panda came up. And I wrote down like, what does it mean to make it? That was the question I asked myself, whether it made sense to sell the company.
Did you get a good multiple?
Didn't even get that far.
Oh, wow.
Because I answered the question, which was, by the way, wouldn't have gotten anywhere what's worth because we're not there yet.
Yeah.
We haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
And also, I don't even know if that's what I want to do.
Also not what you'll
Yeah.
not even close.
And I don't know if that's what I want to do because maybe the multiple for me is years of enjoying what I get to do. And I asked the question, what does it mean to make it? And if Trash Panda was no more, what would I want to do? And I would want to make stuff and I would want to tell stories. And right now I have arguably the perfect outlet to do those things. A guy named Chad now works for me, who is the man.
He once told me that in the Avengers, they say, we have a Hulk. In Trash Panda, you say,
we have a Chad. Like, genuinely, he's the man. He is awesome. And everyone who works here is awesome. I don't mean to single someone out, but Chad's awesome. And he is such a hard worker. He was caddying for his wife in a tournament. And someone on the card found out he worked at Trash Panda. And they were like, what's that like? What's Jesse like? And he told me about this later. He was like, I told him basically like, yeah, well, he loves to work. And then as a hobby, he works. And I was like, no, like my wife is so right. She's been saying it this whole time that I like work a little too much. And the point of that whole story is to say that I am on this side of the pendulum. I do not think the answer's over here though.
Yeah.
And it's not because I want to be over here.
Yeah.
I want to be here. I want to have a balance of like enjoying what I get to do and like truly having such a wonderful time and making an impact and telling stories and making awesome stuff and having a life that like not only I want to live, but my team wants to live, that they're stoked. Like that means everything to me. But at the same time, I want to go on vacation. I want to be able to step away. And like, I don't step away. And it's because I enjoy it so much, but like I'm an addictive personality, which I think we've said before in this podcast too. And I have found the ultimate addiction. And it's trash bin.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out the balance there of like not going, because naturally I think what we do as humans is we go from here and we swing all the way back up. And it's like, now try to make this work. And that's never going to work. And maybe it's not what we do as humans. Maybe it's what you and I do as switches, not dimmers. Whereas some people have the ability to dim. I'm just like, well, if this isn't working, switch over. And so that's what I mean with
skill.
What?
I'm convinced it's an acquired skill because it's hard to see. It's hard to see things in increments. If you look at the other side of the coin, you can see what that looks like. Like if you see what's the opposite of what I'm doing now, you can see that. It's hard to see if I ask you what's 10% less than what you're doing now, it's not like, oh, I work 10% less hours, because that's not the solution, because you're not in like an hourly based thing, which is every hour you create this many widgets and like whatever, there's so much going on. It's so hard to look in that increment of like, and also to know what's the right increment to reduce it. And I think that's where that takes a lot of skill to be able to break it down in that way and figure out what can either be delegated more, or what can we put on backward, or what can we put on a bigger timetable.
But maybe that's our personality. Maybe that's who we are.
Maybe
that's not who. Maybe what we're saying is a human thing is who you and I are.
Yeah.
And it's true for people who are like us.
Yeah.
But there are other people who are. We both grew up religious, and so I'm sure you've taken the Enneagram. I think we've probably talked about the Enneagram. And I love the Enneagram. And some people despise it. And I think for some reason I'm like the classic archetype who would despise it, but I love it. And my brother is the type who doesn't like it. And he's like, I don't want it to put me in a box. And I'm like, bro, it opened the lid on the box that I was already in. I was already in this box, and it opened the lid and told me like who I am and what's possible. And if we just like one example, not to like broad brushstroke here, but there's 9 types on the Enneagram, or 9, whatever the word is. I loved it that much.
You could tell.
Yeah. But there's 9 things, and maybe we're coming from one position of 9, of how 9 different people would relate to the world. Or maybe we're coming from 2 of 9, but there's still other people who are like, who just don't see it that way. I don't know. It's a weird. This is why I tinker in private. This is why I don't tinker in public.
Yeah, no, I feel like you're opening up in a new way. Do you feel like Chad is right in the sense that like, in a sense, what do you take from your reaction to what he said? Because to me, like if someone said it about me, cool. But to you had like a different reaction than I would have expected.
My initial reaction when he told me was I was proud of it. I was proud of that.
Yeah.
Now, that was before October. After October, I don't feel as proud of that.
What changed?
Excuse me. I don't know. Just like, I think my wife helped me realize that I was like, my wife helped me like step outside of myself and look at it and be like, oh yeah, there's things I think I enjoy about this, but there is a reality where I actually enjoy the harmony of it, the ability to step away and take vacation and stuff like that. And so, like I don't know.
Can I, based on what you said?
Yeah, we're edging on vulnerable though, and this is where I don't do well, so we'll see.
It hit me at a different chord than. It made me understand it, I think, in a different way, the way that you put it. Is it essentially, because I feel this way, it's so easy to know the things that I like and don't like right now. And if life in general is like super solid, it's like, sweet, let's keep on with this. But change is an inevitability. And resisting change most likely will be like a bad thing. But it's also like, that was a silly thing to say. Essentially, what I heard from what you said was like, yes, I really love this right now, and I am proud of it. But what if there was a different way that I could still feel the same way, even though my life looks differently
Or better.
or better? Interesting.
I mean, I love what I get to do.
Yeah.
But I also, so the first video ever, the first Trash Panda video ever, since you're an expert on Trash Panda videos,
Yes.
go ahead. What was the first ever Trash Panda video?
Dimple discs.
Deep cut joke referencing the double rim video. And that was great. I loved it. It was teaching myself how to weld because I needed to know how to weld to build the injection machine.
Yeah.
And it was building the injection machine to make a recycled disc. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
It was always that. And that's one thing, just side tangent, that I love looking back on Trash Panda is like, we are here because this was always where we were going. Like, people say to me, like, are you so surprised at this? And it's like, no, this was always where it was going from day one. I just didn't know how to weld, so I had to start there. But I started at welding also because I love to make stuff. And before learning to weld, I was woodworking and doing other stuff in the garage. And now I don't do any of that stuff in the garage because I have this. So is there a version where I like take a break on a weekend and rather than working here or editing a video or whatever it is, I'm at home building something that has no intrinsic value to anyone outside of me and my wife and our house. So maybe my dog gets some value out of it too. I do think like there are things I do enjoy like that I'm like, I don't do that anymore. But I also like, as much as I would love to be building something in the garage, I can come in here and I can build stuff. I can come in here and I can make stuff on the machines or stand at the mill and like work on stuff. And I love that. I do love that. So it's just a weird, like, the truth is, as much as I don't want to acknowledge this and no one wants to hear this, one day Trash Panda is no more for me. That could be 60 years from now. That could be 50 years from now. That could be 40 years from now. It could be less. But there's one day where those things are not connected anymore. And maybe it's the perfect end and I hand it off to someone else and they crush it moving forward and do better than I ever could. Like, maybe that happens. Statistically, it's going to be worse, which scares me. But there's a day where that's no more. And who am I after that? Going back, you were talking about this. You never said it, but I think it's like the idea of our identity being attached to what we create. Yeah. And I don't want Trash Panda to be my identity because in however many years it is, if it's 40 years from now, who am I? I'm no one without Trash Panda if that's my identity. Yeah. And also kind of a shitty person to be married to for 40 years, right? Like, bummer for my wife to be like hanging out with this dude whose identity is work. It's fickle because what we do has purpose. And it's really easy to get messed up with that Venn diagram, if you will, of purpose and work and like be like, oh, it's okay because it's doing something. It's a mission. It's driving towards something. But at the end of the day, like, I have to fundamentally like look at it as that and just say, at the end of my life, I will be very proud of having a successful company, if that's what I feel at the end of my life. But I won't be more proud of that than being the best husband, the best brother, the best uncle, the best son. Like, I just, and the choice is not there, and we're getting very close to the end of my vulnerability. So we're tossing it back to you after this. If the choice was there as 50-50, I'm choosing those over choosing to be able to say at the end, yeah, I ran a successful company. I'd rather say my company ran straight into the ground and I was still someone that my nephew looked up to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the way you explain that is really beautiful and very much almost in line with the heuristic that I use for work sometimes. I think sometimes I do definitely err on the side of like just working for work, but like we talked about this, like it's been a really tough week or so for me, just
Mm-hmm.
getting moved, getting transitioned,
Yeah.
finishing up a bunch of projects, and like I was on the phone with you and I was like, this is just a weird, like I was telling you about listening to the podcast. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm so pissy right now. Like my wife and I aren't getting along as well as we could. Like, but it's like because of the circumstances and it's because I have this work to do. And I also was telling you, it's like our understanding of that is not like, oh, we need to like both be the most emotionally happy right now about everything, because the bigger goal of like our family working in the long run is going to require like what this is right now, which to me is like the harmony of it, where it's like,
Yeah.
it's not, to me, that doesn't feel balanced at all. It feels super out of balance, but it feels harmonious to what the long-term vision is, because I know that like the other side of that is just settling in for a month and
Yeah.
like, and figuring out what that looks like. And I think exactly what you said is come back to what I initially said is like the work for me sometimes is a heuristic for the value that I place on the family that I have. Like to me, work is the vector through which I am able to provide for my family and build like the financial and the like work ethic that I can show my daughter, and like all
Yeah.
the things that I want to pass on to my daughter, and also to show and like be a good community member and a good family member in general. To me, it's tough because like I think like it comes down to me trying to work as hard as possible to make that happen, which sometimes does feel out of balance, even though it's balanced with the ultimate goal. Exactly like what you're saying, where I think the harmony and balance do align is it's just time scales almost
Yeah.
sometimes, where it's like on balance, this is the right thing to do, even though in the day to day it feels not balanced at all. But I know that like what this 2 months have looked like with us trying to transition, my wife finishing her job, us still making sure that our daughter is well cared for, and making enough money to make it all happen is like, geez, this feels like terrible. But I also know that like the reason that we're able to do it is because it's not the day to day.
Hmm.
Which bringing it to like the next point, which is very no, finishing that point and then bringing it to the next. Finishing that point is like for me, work, like I said, is sometimes I use it. I'm like, oh, I like working all the time, even though like to me it's much, family is more important like you, but to me it's important that like the time horizon of the family working is long, and that includes working really hard so that I can be there when my daughter is able to form more coherent memories when she needs a lot more, and later down the road we can say yes to the things that will develop her better. And then over the long term, like I can work really hard as I'm younger so that we can like slow it down a little bit or be able to delegate and like build better systems and business stuff in the long term. But going back to the work, like us being a little bit out of balance these last couple months, it's almost interesting because my wife and I are almost intentionally not thinking about the other side,
Hmm.
because she had her final her exit interview with her job, and she's going to continue working to the end of the year. But when she stops working and she does some stuff for me and I'm able to finally work full time for the first time in like a year and change, like we don't really know what that looks like.
Hmm.
And like what is the balance in that, like,
Yeah.
and a part of that conversation too, like for me it's like I almost default to like I just want to work all the time, and like because I know that like the benefit that I can have for the long term my family is that, but it's balancing the long and the short term
Yeah.
always, which is such a hard thing to do,
Yeah.
and figuring that out's tough.
And you're building habits. Your
Yeah.
habit is I work.
Mm.
And so what happens when that habit has to stop? Like,
Why would it ever have to stop though? Because work would just change. It might not be something that produces like income, but it'd still be work, I think.
possibly, and I don't think retiring is the same that it used to be. Like I don't think you hit 65.
Do you want to retire ever?
I have no idea. I never want to stop. I am a doer. So I will never stop doing things.
Yeah.
Will I retire? I can't answer
It
that
depends on
question. I have no
what
idea.
I would say, because I would say the same things. Like I'll retire from something, but I won't stop doing it.
Yeah. Are you on like a secret mission to just like really mess up the mics tonight with your squeezing the can?
Well, I'm not eating chickpeas, so we're all good.
uh, last episode I was eating chickpeas while the Chris who edits these podcasts was not happy about that, but I didn't think about it because this is not monetized and it's truly a conversation between us. So I was like, I'm eating chickpeas right here and they're super dry.
Yeah, man. I feel like we've gone a lot of places this episode so far.
I love that it's been one consecutive rabbit hole where you were like, I want to shoot off this side. And then off your shoot off, I was like, I'm going to go this way. And you were like, I'm going to go this way.
Where we go next? Up to you. Your
Bed?
turn. It is 7:19. We should probably get to sleep.
You knew I was going to say it. You teed me up. You were softballing it. I actually have the perfect place for us to go.
Yeah.
And it's that I have a gift for you.
Oh,
A
really?
going away gift.
Thank you. It's hefty.
I know you saw this earlier. I don't know if you thought anything of it. I know you saw it. It was right
I
here.
saw it was there. I didn't know what it was.
I didn't want you to see it, but I would forget if it wasn't right here.
Man, I forgot completely.
Well, we never talked about giving each other gifts.
No, I know. I do feel a little bad that I didn't bring you anything.
What'd you forget? There was nothing to forget.
Well, I forgot that I saw it at all until you pulled it out.
Oh, okay.
Like completely. Yeah.
I thought you were saying you forgot to give me a gift, and I was like, yeah,
I
sure.
did forget to get you a gift too. Now that you got me one, I will say, and not as I'm opening this and I'm on the spot and I get to say things.
Pause. Go ahead, say what you're gonna say.
These mics, I think these mics are dynamic, right? They should.
No, I'm saying pause while like you're gonna say something while opening. Like
Yeah,
you should say the thing before you open.
Oh, I was gonna say, I feel like I'm grateful we did this podcast. I've told you this before a little bit, but I feel like Jesse's the type of friend that most people would want to have, where as you're going through difficult things and like you need to learn and like grow, they like just give you space to do it. Like Jesse's very good at like, there are things that I'm sure as I've said them, or like maybe it's just my internal monologue, but it's like, man, like that's crazy. Like, why would you ever think that? Like, that's harmful or hurtful. And instead of like it's, I feel like you're so good at nudging me or people in the right direction rather than like, oh, you have to change this or whatever. You just give me space to like be myself and grow through being like a friend. And so I just really appreciate that about you.
Thanks,
So
dude.
I'm super grateful.
I mean,
I feel like this podcast has been great.
I 100% agree that it's been so good to do this.
Yeah.
And I've gotten the same out of it where we've both learned, we've both grown. It's been awesome. All right, open it delicately.
Is this the inner core? The OG?
That is the disc
Oh my gosh.
that you came to my garage that we talked about in episode 1. There's 3 of those ever made, and that is the one that you threw in a video. So
Wow, thank you. Holy cow.
that's a very sacred disc to me. So now it's yours.
Handmade in Colorado.
Sell it on eBay. Do your thing.
Mystery boxes, you know. No,
On the move with that.
wow, I'm very honored. Thank you so much.
That was there was, we talked about it in the first episode that was the first disc I made that like felt good and flew well. And you reached out and you were like, I want to make a video about your disc. And if you had reached out earlier, I didn't have a disc I would let you throw because they felt like trash. And this was the first one that was like, this is this, like I felt like I was getting to the place where I didn't know if we could keep going. And that was the first one where it's like, oh no, we can keep going.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
It still feels good. It holds up.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
I mean, we've always been disc golfers. We were never not disc golfers. Like, so feeling it, it's like, it's no surprise that it holds up because
Wow.
that was the goal. We were throwing discs. So it wasn't like that was just some disc felt in isolation outside of other discs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel weird giving my Frisbee in a frame to you because it's like a weird thing. But at the same time, our friendship started with that disc right there.
Yeah.
And I feel like it needs to go with you. So
Thank you. Wow. I really appreciate it.
yeah, dude. It's crazy. Don't you want to turn off who we are right now and turn on who we were
Yeah.
3 years ago when we met
Yeah. That's
and be those people and be like, whoa, we're going to be here. And then come back to this moment and be like, holy cow.
yeah.
Can I make this moment worse?
Sure.
This really sweet moment, can
Yeah,
I
of
make it
course.
worse? Put it in the front. Yeah. I when you left the garage that first time you came by,
Yeah.
I told my wife I'm never doing that again. And I've never told you that.
No.
You
That's
just
awesome.
walked up filming and I was like, I am not here for this. Like I'm a different person than that. I hadn't done any collabs or anything like that.
Yeah.
You made a great video. You made 2 great videos because you did 2 videos.
Yeah.
And I thought they were great videos, but it's crazy because listening back to the first episode, you said that I had sent you a video call or a video message, and that left a really good first impression.
Yeah.
And my first impression wasn't quite as good.
Makes
And
sense.
I want to say this because I think it's like if I could go back to myself in that garage, it'd be like invest, hang out, like stay with it with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it took me a second for you to like, I need you to warm back up. I need you to prove it and prove that you were there and not just like this guy who's going to come by with a camera and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And you've done nothing for the past few years other than continue to prove that you're in it. And that's been so, like, I'm such a fan because I wasn't an initial fan. Because I was, and I'm sorry, I know in the industry we call this a chocolate covered turd, where at first it's a compliment, but then you're like, wait, what? Huh?
No, I don't think it is at all.
At first it was not, like, I wasn't as stoked. And now I'm like beyond stoked because I've seen who you are. And that's where it's like, I wish the people know, even though we've talked about vulnerability, you've been quite vulnerable on your videos and everything like that. No one knows the work ethic and the stuff that I've seen. So yeah, that disc means a lot to me because it was a pivotal moment for Trash Panda's history, but it was also a pivotal moment for our friendship.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's quite special. So yeah, if you sell it on eBay, yeah, it's over. It's over.
That's fair. That's completely fair.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting too about that is I remember being so nervous to like, I was like, this is gonna be so weird that I'm just like bringing the camera right now and doing it. It's like I knew it, but I was like, I know this would be good for the videos. Like I guess we'll do it, but it was just weird. Yeah, it's funny you say that. I don't find it like a chocolate covered turd. I don't know if it's like, I don't think it comes from a place of being self-deprecating anymore. I think it would have before, me just being like, oh no, it's okay. Like that's so weird. Like I'm so bad. But to me, it's just like, I think it's more realism with how I have an impression on people at first sometimes. And it's just like, it's not always positive. And like, that's okay. Like,
yeah, I'd love to tell anyone who's a Bodanza hater that, hey, I get an element of where you were coming from because I saw that person.
I get it too, yeah.
And not hater, because hater, like I'm not, I would never say I was that.
Yeah.
But like anyone who's like, he rubs me the wrong way, it's like, give it some time.
Yeah.
If I could just tell him, give it some time. Like, see who the person is. Because even, I forgot what I was going to say. See, it's too late. We're recording too late.
I know.
Damn it.
You can blame my daughter and my wife having a job. Don't blame me. Anything you do, just blame them.
You could blame my early bedtime too, so it could be my fault.
No, I never put that on you, Jesse. You just gave me a gift.
I want the. Oh, I was gonna say even when you posted that video, we talked about it in a previous episode that there's a lid for the box.
Oh, that looks so.
Yeah,
I was like, where did I know?
Yeah, it's magnetic. Put it on there. Yeah, shout out to MVP. It's a great little box they make.
That's awesome.
I'd love for them to make it out of recycled plastic, or someone to figure out how to make it out of recycled plastic. I get that recycled plastic can be tough when it's super clear and transparent, but it is possible. So, yeah. I now have for the second time lost what I was going to say. So we need to just move on because I have no idea what I was going to say.
Perfect. Yeah. I guess I've just come to more understanding of like, and I think it's coming to terms with like my brain operating differently and listening back to this podcast and being like, man, you have to change the speed on YouTube when you or I are talking if you want it to be level. And it's just like, there honestly is a part of me that's like really annoyed by that. And I don't know if that will change. And I don't think I want to change the speed that I talk because it is more helpful for other people. But what I noticed that we do very differently, I noticed it specifically today, is, and you said it to me either just in person or on a video, I don't remember, because it all melds together at this point. Because honestly,
Yeah.
when we do these type of things, it's just like an extension of us.
Yeah.
But you were like, you talk to think.
Hmm.
And like you told me that, I think just in passing. And maybe there was
Crazy.
nothing in it, but like I agree with that. Even right now, like when I notice you talking, I'm trying to do it now. There's space for you to form your sentences and think. And I think a part of
That's crazy. I heard silence between you saying certain words, and you're right. I haven't heard that.
I know.
As much.
And that's what I hear from you all the time.
Yeah.
And it makes me
Interesting.
realize it, not so that like I can change for other people, but more so what I want to do is like create entertainment and value for people in disc golf. And that is better done with better communication that people could understand, because my videos are not made for me. They're made for an audience that like I have a specific person in mind as I'm making my content. If I want to best serve that person, like my avatar could be someone who has a ton of ADHD who would better understand normal speed videos if I talk like me, because I speed everything up all the time.
Yeah.
And I need it to be faster because I'm like, this is so slow and so boring for the most part. And then like I listen to a creator who has ADHD
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, this is normal speed now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, this is silly.
I literally, in re-listening to these episodes, Chris has uploaded them to Dropbox, and I didn't realize you could change the speed till the final episode that I was
really?
listening to. So I listened to them all on 1x speed. I listen to everything on 1x speed.
Yeah.
It's just, my life is
Makes sense.
My brain, too much is happening in my
Yeah.
brain. I tell everyone it's like a 18-way intersection. There's so many cars going at so many times, and if one car hits, all of a sudden it's a pileup. It's not just a one car crash, two car crash. It's a whole pileup, and that's my brain. And so I do like things going a little slower outside of that. I don't know how much you followed, and this is a few years removed, but Mr. Beast and like his style. But there was a point where he was hype retention every single moment, Marvel movie, like yelling whatever. And there was a moment, I think we're both fans of like Colin and Smear and some people who talk about creating content, and they've talked with him, and he said in interviews where he started to realize like there was more to like story and stuff like that. And I think that's all. I think we're just seeing you grow. We're just seeing you like, and you're seeing you grow. Yeah. Because of this podcast, you're seeing you grow, which is sick, because we don't see that.
Yeah.
We don't, unless we have like, we're about to post a reel that's like kind of how it started versus how it's going, where it's like me in the garage versus a clip of me today.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And it's like, that's the few moments where I see it and I'm like, oh, whoa. Like, that's crazy how different it is in 5 years. And I feel like we're getting that from this podcast.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like the big takeaway from me on it is content has always been like an extension of my life and to serve me, kind of. And it has worked. And I feel like in some respect, I'm very lucky that it's worked. I think in general, I care a lot about people, and I'm like an empathetic person, and I also care about like success. And so I'll do the things that are required for that. But it feels like the baseline for me, maybe from a point of fear of like needing financial security, because my parents split because of financial insecurity and like just like business things that my dad did that made my mom feel like really insecure, and they eventually like ended up divorcing because of it. And so to me, that's why maybe I work harder than I should sometimes, because to me it's so important that like this is like something that could be detrimental to my relationship, and this is the most important thing. So sometimes it comes across by me overindulging in work, and that kind of makes sense. But it's always been so important for me to like, this needs to work, which to me feels like I have to focus on me. But ultimately what I'm realizing as this last month or so, I've really tried to dial in on like, who am I trying to serve with my content? And at this point, it's going to be 2 channels. So you guys are hearing this first. It'll be like 3 days before I announce it. But like, I'll have one channel. It's for like a disc nerd. That's like the stuff, because I am both of these people, but I like reading all the new discs. And I want to make someone for like someone who's more curious about disc golf and like just likes to go out and have a good time with their family and their friends and like just wants to be entertained. And like, I think I was mixing both of those avatars, which are two different people, into all the content I make. And I think because it's who I am. And I was making content almost for me in a sense, but stuff that like I thought would do well, but still was just like whatever I wanted to do. And now I'm really focused, and it feels more business minded to think about my customer, my audience, the avatar that I'm trying to serve. And that, I think, has also helped me realize it's like, before I'd almost get like annoyed or incensed that like people would be like, oh my God, you talk too fast or whatever. And I would be like, no, like, and I would always come to terms with like, no, it's okay that I do. But now it's like, what's the underlying point of that? Some people are saying that because I just talk too fast, and like some people are older and they can't do it. Some people just like don't like me, and so they're gonna find the easiest thing to like say that I do differently. Some people though want to watch my stuff, but I communicate too poorly or too differently than like they might be able to. And so it's not about like toning it down so that I can like, a part of it is I'll be more successful in some respects, but part of it's not like, how do I speak slower? It's about how do I communicate better? Because I feel like that's the underlying message of the people who, if I take a charitable interpretation, are telling me that I talk too fast. It's like, I'm not communicating in a way that's understandable to the maximal amount of people in my target audience, psycho and demographics. And so I think a part of that growth in like is trying to figure out like, what are the things I can do to best serve them? And a part of that isn't necessarily slowing down my speech, but it's in where I'm going to be like going to one of the universities there that has like open, like whatever about communication, whether it's like an actual class or just like something that you could take this extracurricular, like genuinely learning to be a better communicator. And a part of that, I feel like if you listen to the last half, hopefully, of this podcast versus the first, I'm trying to like take more time with my words, and it's so foreign to me. And to me, like you said, I like to think, or I like to talk in order to think. And then it's
I don't remember saying that. That's
it might have
crazy.
been in a podcast, honestly. I don't remember, but like you told me that, and like I'd heard something similar before, but that was so like, yeah, I do talk to think because I'm such an external processor, and I do externally process, but sometimes I like wait for my mouth to catch up to my brain, but my mouth is still going. And the other part of that is like, you'll say something or like I'll have an idea. Like, just, I think a perfect example of that in this podcast is the vulnerability is a mask for quality. In my head, I had this concept, and it's not those words, but I can't communicate it. It's really frustrating for me a lot of times because I feel like it's happened a lot in this podcast where I'm like, this is such a gem of an idea, and there's no concision, and there's poor communication, and then I end up just like fumbling through words. And so I think like learning to communicate better is not only going to be more helpful in like getting the messages that I think are important out there, but also in just like general success, and also in connecting with people, because if I can't communicate well, I can't connect well.
Yeah, it's fickle because this is a conversation.
Yeah.
So in my humble opinion, who the fuck cares? We're just chatting. So having a good, stay with me.
Yeah, well,
Having a good like way of saying one thing or another, we're just chatting. Like that's what we've done. You would have never been concerned like about certain ways you said things in a conversation when we were at that brewery or when we were doing that
that's
thing.
the problem.
Huh?
That's not true though. That's the for me like as I am 75% of the way through my ramblings, I start to get very frustrated because I'm like, I haven't even expressed the point that I want to make.
Have you watched the Marvel movie where Doctor Strange hits Spider-Man outside of himself that I referenced in a previous episode? Because it's like you're saying, like you're looking at yourself and you're like, I'm frustrated because I'm seeing this.
Yeah, it's less a frustration of like if I talk fast and I yap a lot, like whatever, who cares? Like exactly what you said. But to me, it's more like I feel like I stall conversations sometimes because I can't communicate what I want, but I keep trying and like I just can't do it.
That's verbal processing.
Yeah.
I think
it's a mix of things, but I also think it's a skill to work on. So I might as well try to get better. I'm not saying like I'm not like it's not some existential frustration with myself. Like I'm not like gonna be up at night because of this, but it's one of those things where it's like I can get better. Like I can grow it. Kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Huh. I was just thinking, I like how our chairs have like slowly, like I feel like
I know.
after like at a certain point, like when we started the podcast, I feel like we were sitting like this way, talking to each other over here as if we were on a podcast, and now it's just like we need a dining table right here, and we're really just chilling,
chickpeas and all,
because it's not about that. So I still feel the like who cares, because I'm like I only care if it's you becoming who you want to be and who you think will be the best husband and father, and like that's it. And like
I think that's,
there is like my product is sitting on the table in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
Your product is you.
Yeah.
So it's a very
So
different.
imagine if your product like if it came out with a little bit more flashing, where it's like it's fine, like who cares, or like that's a bad example, but like you want something to have like this perfect shape or whatever, and it's like 9% of the way there, but it's like it's fine, we'll roll it, but we're gonna try to get better at it. That's kind of how I feel about this type of thing. Where
Yeah.
exactly what you said, I think. Before this point, if we're talking first episode of podcast, that person is talking about this and is like really frustrated at himself, and like in a more existential sense, where it's like I'm bad because of this. For me now, it's like it's fine. Like I can stay where I'm at, but like I don't want to be stagnant. I want to be constantly growing. Like constant improvement is such a refrain for this podcast, and that's where it's coming from. It's like who cares? The answer to that is me, not because I think other people care, but because I want to communicate better. That's what's important about it.
Did we call the first or second episode constant improvement or growth?
Growth.
Yeah, we talked about constant improvement. Yeah. I totally, I don't think that's the theme of the podcast. I think that's the theme of our who we are. Is
That's what every conversation boils down to.
I don't even care if I retire or not.
Mm-hmm. I
care if I stop improving, if I stop learning, if I stop getting better, if I stop being curious. Like that's at this point in my life, that's what I think is like the question of whether or not I retire is not it doesn't, it's a thing about a job, but like I've had multiple jobs where all I've done the whole time is just learn.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am doing it again. Yeah. So yeah,
I think that's where I lost the plot for a while. Honestly, I think part of it started with like getting financial security by like my channel was doing fine. Then I got an infinite contract, and then my wife started working, and like we were like for where we had been so financially secure.
Yeah.
And it's like, sweet, like if this stays forever, it was the idea. And I said this all the time, or like at least to myself, it's like, if I just maintain this forever, we're good. We can retire, like financially, like we'll be fine. And it's like, that's an idea that's like fine. And like that can be a reality that you acknowledge is like, oh, this is cool. But I feel like because the goal for me, because of what I explained with like my parents' divorce and whatever, was just like making sure that financially that was never the issue.
Yeah.
I just kind of like got to there and then just like lost the plot a little bit. I was just like, I'm just gonna we're just gonna stay here. Versus now it's like this I was looking at our finances coming through this move, and we're gonna be like a month. We're gonna have moved, paid for Disc East and whatever, been able to put some money away for like disc golf travel. And like I was hoping that we could move, but because I think in the last 2 months, and like most of this money comes in the last 2 months, which hopefully it's gonna continue maintaining, but it's like it's come from me not thinking about that anymore, but just trying to get better at things. And then opportunities come, and it's like I felt like if I've reached this threshold, I'm set, but I didn't care to get anywhere past the threshold. I just want to make sure I stayed at the threshold. And now it's just like, even if I go below that, I'll have saved some money, which will be fine. But otherwise, like I want to just get better and trust myself that if I do work on getting better, it'll all fall into place. Whether that means like everything like shits the bed and my wife has to go back to work and like now we're doing this thing again. It's like, I don't think that will happen. I really hope that doesn't happen. But like, if it does, I trust that we're going to continue working on ourselves and getting better. Whereas before, that would have been like the most devastating thing to me. Like at the start of the podcast, if you would have been like, hey, this is a reality that's going to happen, that would be devastating. If you told me that now, I'd be like, that really sucks, but we'll figure it out. Like, and it's like, that shift is so different for me. And that's one of the biggest things that's happened these 6 months is almost relearning how to love growth versus just wanting to stay where I'm at.
Yeah. Do you remember when I told you that I think the like number one ingredient of it all is just time?
Yeah. You say
I say
it's
that
so true
all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like there are people who are in this conversation with us virtually who have had so much more time than we have, and they're like, oh yeah, don't worry guys, like it's okay, like we're young, we're real young, and like I like I look at that and I'm like, if this is how we look at ourselves after 6 months, how do we look at ourselves after 6 years, you know, and stuff like that. So that is the people will, I get the compliment a decent amount that people say like the quality of our videos is really good. And I appreciate that. But I always tell people to go watch the first video because the quality was trash. It was a 720p camera. Didn't hook up to an external mic. My garage door was shut. It was an echo chamber. I wasn't even in focus. I wasn't even wearing a hat. Don't go watch it. But it was where I started, and I committed on that video. I committed to making the next video better in one way every time. So the next video was better in one way, and the next video was better in one way. And it would be like I learned to rotoscope from one video. I learned to make it like on a thumbnail, rotoscope on a thumbnail. What's that called? Is that called masking maybe, as opposed to rotoscope? Rotoscope's like video.
Yeah.
But I learned rotoscoping for a video on one video. I learned like one video, everything I learned was in the thumbnail, not even in making the video.
Yeah.
In another one, it was like focus and stuff like that. And every video still is that way, where it's like everything I do. Okay, I'm going to spoil another plot for you. Have you seen Predator Badlands? It's so new. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'm going to spoil the spirit of something. And I feel bad because it's like if I spoiled Interstellar, everyone's like, yeah, we've had enough time to see it. Spoiling this is like, it's still in theaters, whatever.
Well, we're proposing this in 4 weeks, so you'll be good.
It's still so new. It was a fantastic movie. What I loved was the hero, obviously wins in whatever the way win means at the end of the movie. But he won because he failed throughout the movie, and every time he failed, he learned. And towards the end of the movie, you started to realize like everything that was happening was because something had previously happened that was a fail, and he had learned and corrected it. And I fucking love that.
Yeah.
I love the idea that like I'm doing things right now I could have never done because I've just learned for 31 years. And next year it'll be the same thing, and the next year will be the same thing, and it's just that like constant growth. I something in me like loves that, and the idea that we can be better tomorrow by way of our choice and our actions. And like I speak from a very privileged place. I don't have to worry about my next meal. I don't have to worry about my family. And like, if I was born in another place, in another time, in another instance, like I don't think I'm just like this amazing person who would have made this happen regardless. Like, I don't think that at all. I think I've been dealt a very generous hand.
Yeah.
So it's a privilege to feel this way. But I feel privileged to be able to learn and just become better. And hopefully, bless you.
Thank you.
Hopefully, it means like the best thing I feel like I can do is take that privilege, take that ability to learn and make things better and make myself better and make a world better, make the world better. And that's in my small way. I don't think I'm impacting the whole world in a certain way. I just mean in my small way. Like there's a story of this girl who was walking down the beach.
That's right in my head.
Yeah. And this beach is littered in starfish, and she's throwing them in, and she's grabbing a starfish and throwing it in the water, grabbing a starfish, throwing it in the water, and they're all on the beach. They'll all die because they're not in the water. And this guy walks up and is like, "What are you doing? Like, look at the beach. Like, there's so many, there's thousands, there's hundreds of thousands down for miles. You'll never make a difference." And she just reaches down, she grabs one, she throws it in, and she's like, "It made a difference for that one." I don't think I'm going to clear the beach. I just think I'm trying to make a difference right here, right now. And then the best thing I could do tomorrow is try to make a difference right here, right now. Yeah.
And I think that's the button.
What?
That's the button.
What's the button?
The button on the pod.
That's it?
That's it.
We're never going to talk again? From this moment on?
If you pay me out in my per word contract, yeah, no way.
I don't love the idea that I finished it. So you give us something better than that. Give us something better than that. Go ahead. You got it. I'm immensely grateful that we did this. And I knew we would be. We talked about that. But yeah, we'll both look back on this very grateful. So, yeah.
This is good.
Agreed. All right, dude. Give me a hug.